All right, so today we're diving into something, well, kind of unexpected nailing machine operator. Honestly, when I saw those RoleCatcher guides you sent, I pictured like endless rows of hammers going nonstop. But this is way more interesting than I thought.
Yeah, it really is. People hear the name and think it's just speed and repetition, but there's a ton of problem solving involved.
Problem solving.
hmm
With a nailing machine. How so?
Okay, picture this. You're in the middle of production, right? And suddenly the feeder system jams. Whole lines at a standstill.
Yeah.
A good operator, they don't just slam the emergency stop. They've got to diagnose the issue on the spot.
Oh, I see.
Is it misaligned? Sensor malfunction? Maybe even a bad batch of nails. Each problem, different solution. And on a production floor, time is money.
Right, of course. So you need to think fast under pressure. And that kind of ties into what RoleCatcher was saying about mechanical aptitude, right?
Exactly. We're not just talking about knowing which way to hold the hammer, You might go from a pneumatic nailer for smaller stuff, then boom, switch to a heavy-duty hydraulic system to punch through thick lumber. Understanding how these machines work, adjusting settings, troubleshooting, that's the real deal.
Makes sense. It's way more technical than people realize, so it's not just hammering all day. What's a typical day actually look like for someone in this role?
Well, according to RoleCatcher's guide, you're running the machinery, obviously, but then there's quality control, making sure those nails are placed right, joints are secure, no defects. And of course, there's maintenance. Cleaning, lubricating, keeping your machine happy.
Oh, right. Got to keep it running smoothly.
Exactly. And depending on the size of the operation, you might be working with other operators, supervisors, maybe even training new folks as you move up.
So there is room for growth then, because that's something I wanted to ask about. What's the long-term outlook here? Someone starts as an entry-level operator. What's next?
It's not a dead end, not at all. RoleCatcher actually maps out a whole career path for this.
Oh, interesting.
And it's not just about a fancier title. You get more responsibility and, yeah, usually a better paycheck, too. You might start assisting, shadowing a senior operator, then move on to running things solo, different machines, bigger projects. Eventually, you could be supervising a whole team, even doing the training yourself.
Okay, so big picture. There's definitely a ladder to climb. But let's get real about the work environment for a sec. RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat it. We're talking factories, plants, right? Can be noisy, dusty, maybe even hot. Safety's got to be a top priority, and you're working around a lot of other people.
Right, and that's where being adaptable comes in. Because the whole manufacturing world is changing fast. Remember that section in the guide, technology advances? Automation and robotics, that's becoming huge in this line of work.
So with all this tech coming in, you really got to find the right opportunities. That's where something like RoleCatcher can be a game changer, right? Well, you mentioned some of their features earlier.
Totally. The way they use AI is pretty impressive. It's not just some basic job board. It actually gets what skills you need for this specific kind of work.
Okay, so how does that actually work?
So say you upload your resume to RoleCatcher. Their AI goes to work, analyzes everything, compares your skills and what you've done to, like, thousands of job descriptions, especially nailing machine operator ones.
I see.
And it can pinpoint what you're missing. Maybe you haven't used a certain type of nailing system, or there's some software in automated manufacturing that you haven't touched yet.
So it's like having your own career coach pointing out areas to improve.
Exactly. But then it goes even further. RoleCatcher can suggest courses, certifications, to fill those gaps, gives you an edge. And get this, it'll even tweak your resume for each job you apply to. Highlights the stuff employers care about most.
Wow, that's wild. Like a secret weapon for your job search.
It really is. And we can't forget the interview prep. RoleCatcher has this whole database of common questions for nailing machine operators.
Well, that's smart. So instead of getting blindsided by some question like, tell me about a time you had to fix a nailing machine, you can walk in feeling ready.
Precisely. And it's not just memorizing answers. Thinking through those questions, that shows you can solve problems in the real world.
Right.
Like they might ask, how do you make sure the finished product is good quality? If you've prepped a solid answer, you're showing off your attention to detail, how you understand quality control using measurement tools, all that.
So preparation is key, for sure. But let's be real. Interviews are always a little nerve-wracking. Any tips on handling those nerves, making a good impression?
Oh, absolutely. One thing is, try to make it a conversation, not an interrogation. Be enthusiastic. Ask them questions about the company, the role itself. Don't be afraid to show off those soft skills that matter in any factory setting, teamwork, communication, that you're eager to learn.
So it's not just about working the machine. It's about being a good team player, communicating well, all that stuff. Now, you mentioned earlier how manufacturing is changing so fast, especially with automation becoming more common. Makes you wonder, though, what does all this mean for the future of, like, being a nailing machine operator? It's not like robots are going to take over completely, right?
Yeah, good point. It's not about replacing, it's more like things are leveling up. Think about it like this. You're going from using a hand tool to running a whole computerized system. The basic skills are still there, but now you're managing way more complex stuff. Troubleshooting software, maybe even programming the
So
machines.
it's like, you got to stay ahead of the curve. What advice would you give to someone just starting out now?
Honestly, be open to learning new things. The skills you need today might be totally different 5, 10 years down the line. It might mean taking extra courses, certifications, maybe even going back to school for something like engineering or automation tech.
So this could be like a stepping stone to a bunch of different opportunities in manufacturing.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole deep dive so interesting. We're not just talking about any job. We're talking about a career path with room to grow, good stability, even, dare I say, a little excitement.
Yeah, totally.
Remember those stories from RoleCatcher, from actual operators?
Yeah, those were cool.
One of them talked about going from running one machine to being in charge of a whole production line, all because they were willing to learn new things and adapt.
That's awesome. So basically, becoming a nailing machine operator, it's not just about being good with your hands. It's about being adaptable, always learning, and understanding how manufacturing is changing.
Exactly. Who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one training the newbies, passing on your knowledge, your passion for this work, because let's face it, it's overlooked, but it's essential.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We've learned that being a nailing machine operator is way more than meets the eye. You're troubleshooting, you're dealing with high-tech equipment. There's real potential here. So if you're the kind of person who likes working with their hands, good at solving problems, not afraid of a little hard work, this could be the perfect fit. The future of manufacturing needs skilled people like you. So go for it. Never stop learning, and you'll nail that dream job in no time.